Martinez Zogo murder case. According to legal minds, the conflict of two communique or two correspondences by the judge of the military tribunal, ordering and later cancelling the release of Jean-Pierre Amogu-Belinga and Maxime Ekoeko from prison is a cause for concern and also discredits the Cameroonian judicial system. Three legal minds will be coming back to that controversy in this edition of the news. Viewers, that these are majorly story. Details when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. We begin this edition of the news with the supposed release from prison of two principal accused of the Martinez Zogo murder case. They are Jean-Pierre Amogu-Belinga and Maxime Ekoeko. Legal minds decry the manipulation of Cameroon's judicial system and the impact of such behavior of some individuals in power on the credibility of the judiciary. They are reacting to the Martinez Zogo murder case release and disclaimer that went viral on social media. That was about the weekend. Babila Jonathan talked with barristers Stamford Richard and Fru Jonathan and compared this report for the news.
Two opposing documents bearing the signature of a senior judicial official of the state, the second disclaiming the first and affirming that Martinez Zogo captive murder case prime accused Amogu-Belinga and Maxime Ekoeko are still in pre-trial detention in the Yaoundé principal prison. The fake and disclaimer ping-pong is seen as a revelation of what is qualified by observers as the ugly face of a judiciary that is not independent.
What happened last week is another demonstration of our justice system, the Cameroonian justice system, as to its credibility. This is really putting in high jeopardy the credibility of our justice system.
To Barrister Fru Joseph, the release and counter-release is a sign of a failed regime.
It's the signature of a judge, a justice. Yesterday was the signature of a minister. The other day it was the signature of the Speaker of Parliament. And when you have signatures of these three branches of state conflicting, what are we talking about? We are talking about a system that has failed completely.
The release, qualified by the examining magistrate of the Yaoundé military court as fake, has raised questions begging for answers.
Where did that fraudulent and capricious statement come from? Who originated it and who orchestrated it? And how could it happen in a system where the investigating magistrate is a military officer? In fact, a lieutenant colonel for that matter.
If the document is actually fake, then what should be done is that those who were involved should be arrested and prosecuted, and that will be justice.
Barrister Stamford Richard calls on the head of state, head of the higher judicial council, and guarantor of state institutions to take up his responsibilities and put order in the system.
And the circulation of doubtful, fake, and controversial documents implicating high-level state officials and institutions is growing, and Cameroonians must refer to the right quarters for clarification each time the call has been made by a legal mind who identifies the legal shortcomings and visible faults in the controversial documents of last Friday. For me, Armstrong Sander has the details.
The strange and current twist in the Martinez Zogo affair began on Friday the 1st, 2023. Two documents emerged on social media revealing strange developments, one calling for the release of the two prime suspects in his murder case, notably Jean-Pierre Amogu-Belinga and Maxime Ekoeko, and another debunking the former. Both documents bore the name and signature of Magistrate Sikati II Florent Aimé, Vice President of the Military Tribunal in Yaoundé, and the investigating judge in the Martinez Zogo murder case. A high-level capital murder case controversy which has sent Cameroonians into confusion. Barrister Ewole Lyonga is a human rights lawyer based in Boya.
The first document that came out of the Office of the Examining Magistrate, which ordered the release of these two accused persons, was quite different from the signature of the document that said that no order like that was coming from the office of the examining magistrate. The second document is what can be termed authentic, coming from the office of the examining magistrate. Maybe the first one was forged. And we also have another document coming from the office of the president of the military court of the Central region that made it clear that no such orders were being made by the examining magistrate.
But were there violations in procedures, and what does the law provide in such an instance?
These two suspects are being charged with capital offenses, wherein in such offenses bail cannot be granted during a preliminary inquiry. In a PI proceedings like this one, bail is difficult to be granted.
Barrister Ewele Lyonga insists on the necessity for the public to always refer to legal minds and bodies to clear their doubts on such controversial instances, given the rise in the circulation of controversial fake and leaked documents in the country of late. The Martinez Zoguafe document scandal is one of the umpteenth in the recent time in Cameroon, implicating high state officials and state institutions across the triangle.
And we will be coming to the events of last Friday that would be in the second part of the news. Now we talk something else. The mayor of Galim has put to the defense forces of Cameroon to a challenge somehow, speaking during the funeral ceremony of the traders who were killed during an alleged attack which was carried out by separatist fighters in Birmingham. Mayor Elisa Kerr questions the presence of the military, who have been unable to arrest or injure even one Amber or separatist fighter in that area. According to the mayor for Galim, it's high time security camps are created within Galim and Birmingham. Smart Dikangi reports.
We are tired from 2020 till date. Never have they arrested a suspect. The outing of the mayor of Galim during the funeral ceremony of slain business operators took all by surprise. The mayor questioned the role of the defense forces, who can't arrest or even injure a suspected separatist fighter. It's sad they have never presented a wounded suspect, nothing, and they have not even been able to arrest one. How logically will these people integrate and appreciate the presence of the defense forces amongst them? I'm not a politician. If you think I'm telling the truth, then remove me from my position. In response to the mayor of Galim, the governor of the West region said security is not a one-man's business but a collective one. When they are in the war front or in an environment, they know that the population is with them, and that gives them the strength to work. Security is not a one-man's thing. It's everybody's affair, and we all have to be involved. It was at the market square of Birmingham that the population, accompanied by the different traditional rulers of Birmingham clan, bid farewell to the 7 business operators who were killed during an attack alleged to be that of separatists last November. A cleansing exercise was performed at the end of the funeral ceremony by the traditional rulers, who say such heinous acts won't occur again in their locality.
The Mungo division of the littoral region have re-echoed some difficulties they face and grievances to the public and also government authorities. These challenges stem from stigmatization and marginalization. It was on December 3, while commemorating the 32nd edition of the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Innocent Aze has more.
Challenges faced by persons with disabilities in various communities in Cameroon are static, despite organization of campaigns, conferences, seminars and peaceful demonstrations to draw the attention of government authorities to address them.
La vie au quotidien en tant que personne handicapée n'est pas facile.
Life as a handicapped person is tough. Access to administrative offices is difficult, as you will need to travel from your remote locality to town. we are not even represented in public offices, whereas we have the capabilities. Also, most often, we are stigmatized. People underlook us and don't welcome us nicely. It is pathetic.
Nous sommes parfois mal regardés par rapport à notre condition.
La personne handicapée est trop...
We are stigmatized and marginalized when it comes to employment. Check in all public structures and even the Loom Council, and you will see, when we apply for a job, we are asked what we can do.
Qu'est-ce que vous pouvez faire? Moi, personnellement,
a handicapped woman says she snobs the attitudes of people towards her.
Ma tête, moi je sais que je ne suis pas handicapée. Je fais tout ce que même ceux qui ont les deux pieds peuvent faire.
Though many of them are self-employed, they beg authorities, once again, to treat them fairly.
Je demande et j'implore.
Authorities should consider and favor us in all aspects so that we have a place in the society.
En fait, dans la vie,
construisant les bâtisses,
we wish to be employed and have access to authorities. Public buildings should be made accessible to persons with disabilities. If it is a story building, elevators should be provided.
Les ascenseurs pour ces personnes-là.
These disabled persons also plead private and state officials respect the 2010 law that demands the protection and consideration of 10% of persons with disabilities in private and public offices. This will greatly enable them to be less dependent in society.
And now back to Douala. Residents of Kobon in the Douala 3 subdivision decrying injustice on the part of the Douala 3 Douala City Council. According to them, the council wants to use unscrupulous means to seize their lands. They urge the council officials to respect the recent decision of the courts. Immaculate Fogwe has the details.
65 hectares of land is the main bone of contention between natives of Kolbong in the Douala 3 subdivision and the Douala City Council. According to residents, they were given ownership rights by the government several years ago. Unfortunately, the City Council has decided to use unorthodox methods by establishing land titles on the disputed piece. However, after the case was taken to court, the examining magistrate denied recognizing the land titles presented by the Douala City Council.
Où le super-maire impose une loi.
The City Council wants to impose a law on us. Years back, the site which serves as public land was given to over 213 families whose houses got demolished. That is how many of them found themselves here. The community rented 65 hectares of the land to a Chinese company, but the City Council is collecting rents. We want to know if we are in a state of law or not. Residents decry the fact that though the verdict of the court was in their favor, the council continues demolishing houses and also collecting rents from the Chinese company operating on the disputed piece. We are really disappointed with the unscrupulous attitude of the City Council. They need to respect the law. In 2020, the court cancelled the land titles presented by the City Council. Why are they still persecuting us? Equinoxe TV team is still expecting the reaction of the council in relation to the case. Natives of Kolbong implore competent authorities to ensure that the law is respected.
In other news, to the Far North region, there are about 400,000 children in the Far North region of Cameroon who do not have birth certificates. In the Diamare division, there are 60,000 of them, an alarming situation which officials of that region could not let go. Details with our reporter, Cedric Chakutio.
According to statistics from the National Civil Status Registry, there are about 400,000 children without birth certificates in the far north of Cameroon. A worrisome situation to the divisional officer of the Diamare division, who during a meeting of sensitization asked parents to always procure birth certificates for their newborn babies. You should declare the birth of your child. The life of a child begins by his birth certificate. It's not normal for a child to grow without his birth certificate. This can block him in school and he won't be able to obtain his certificate. It is with the birth certificate that we become citizens. According to the divisional officer, Many intelligent children are sometimes blocked in primary school and cannot finish their circle due to the absence of this document.
Je demande donc aux parents d'assumer leurs responsabilités parce qu'il ne suffit pas seulement de faire des enfants. Il faut assumer toutes les responsabilités qui s'ensuivent.
Again, during his socio-economic tour in the area, his objective was also to insist on parental responsibility and fight against early and forced marriages.
Éviter les mariages précoces aux jeunes filles. Ce n'est pas bien.
Stop with this issue of forced marriage. It is not good.
Mais envoyer la femme en mariage à 12 ans, ce n'est pas bien. Parce que même son bassin n'est même pas encore solide.
A child can't get married at the age of 9. It can kill her womb and even destroy her life.
Ont des problèmes quand ils vont accoucher. Mais c'est souvent regrettable. Parce qu'ils attrapent des fistules, des maladies extrêmement compliquées.
While waiting for resolutions and applications of these decisions, the inhabitants of the Far North region somehow welcome the knowledge and insistence of the administrative official on the importance of a birth certificate to every child.
And now let's take news out of the country. Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger have decided to quit the G5 Sahel, while Nigeria, which is the present chair of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, is calling for the immediate release of former President of Niger, Mohamed Bazoum. Mala Glory with a foreign page roundup.
After Mali, now comes Burkina Faso and Niger, who have announced to withdraw from the G5 Sahel, an international force created to fight Islamic attacks in the Sahel region. All three countries are run by military rulers following coups that have permitted them to form their own mutual defense pact. Chad and Mauritania are still part of the G5 force, which has at least 5,000 soldiers. A statement from the military government of Burkina Faso and Niger was critical of the G5 force for failing to make the Sahel region safer. It also suggested that the anti-jihadist force undermined the two African nations' desire for greater independence and dignity and was serving a foreign interest instead. And elsewhere, Nigeria is calling for the release of ousted Niger President Mohamed Bazoum and for the military junta to allow him to live for a third term. Nigeria, which is the current chair of the regional group Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, had earlier imposed sanctions on Niger following the July coup that ousted Bazoum. ECOWAS had been demanding Bazoum's immediate return to power, but the military junta rejected. Following several coups in West Africa recently, ECOWAS leaders will be meeting on December 10 to discuss on possible solutions.
20 minutes past 6 p.m. Brass the clock. Viewers, that does it for the first part of the news. Don't go away. Talking Point comes up next. Welcome back, viewers. Tonight we are going to be talking about the supposed release of the two co-principal accused of the Martinez Zogo murder case. We still remember that on Friday a communique circulated on social media declaring the two of them free. Hours later, another communique cancelling the first one. And our guest tonight is Chief Barrister Christopher Ndong. Barrister, thank you so much for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. Just to let our viewers know that you are a barrister at law, a traditional ruler, and also the Secretary General of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement. Thank you again for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point. Now, as a legal mind, what do you make of the confusion related to the two communiques signed by the judge, one declaring Amugu Belinga and Maxim Eko free, and the other refuting the first communique? How can we understand that some hours later, the judge sends out another communique refuting the first one? As a legal mind, what can you make of all this confusion? And Barrister, now, does this in any way put to question the independence of the judicial system in Cameroon and even its credibility? And now, Barrister, we are talking about the supposed release of the two principal accused of the Martinez Sogo murder case. I was trying to find out from you, hope you are getting us right now. As a legal mind, what do you make of the confusion related to the two communiques signed by the judge, one declaring Amugu Beringa and Maxim Ekoeko free, and the other refuting the first communique? How can we understand that confusion? We are having some problems there, having Barrister Christopher Dong, who is coming to us from Yaoundé. Barrister, I want to find out from you. Hope you're getting us now. You're a barrister at law. We're talking about the supposed release of the two principal accused of the Martinez Sogo murder case. We had two conflicting communiques. Now, as a legal mind, what can you make of that confusion or the controversy?
Thank you, Madam the journalist. In fact, it's a pleasure for me to talk on Equinoxe television to clear the population on the ongoing situation that has happened in the judicial system where somebody died. Martinez Zogo died, killed cruelly. In fact, he's lying in his grave, and those culprits suspected of the act should face trial. A double communique coming from the same judge, I want to think that it's an embarrassment to the justice system of this country. And of course, the judge himself has made it clear that the first communique was not signed by him, and that the second, refuting the first, was the authentic one. And what I gather from these two communiques is that the first has been surprised by the second, and Amugu Belinga, Eko, and the others still remain in the precinct of the Kondengi prison. So therefore, there is a big question as to who now filed in the first communique. It's an investigation that should be open. If the judge says I'm not the one and sends out a second one, the big question in law is why would the judge be so interested to put out the communique at midnight or after working hours? Because there is something wrong. Corruption must have passed through. Many other illegal acts have been passed through. And of course, it is an attempt to evade themselves from the prison cells so as to get them free. People who are charged of crimes that are, in fact, felonious crimes. And felonious crimes can never let anybody out until on Judgment Day.
And now, Barrister, that leads me to my second question. Does this in any way put to question the independence of the judicial system in Cameroon, and why not its credibility?
Where Cameroonians and other legal minds in Cameroon around the world to doubt. Because if the independence of the judiciary was maintained or respected, we would not have seen hoodlums, as per the declaration of the examining magistrate that he's not the one who signed and sent out the document. Who then did it? The same examining magistrate, and the independence of the judiciary should investigate and get out the culprits, is because those culprits are within the ranks of the military tribunal. Can you imagine a commissaire de gouvernement who is in charge of investigation of such criminal acts has not come out clearly to say who did that act? They should get the culprits, and for then we shall now know the independence of the judiciary is maintained. The judiciary in this place is put to task. Examining magistrate whose secrecy in the investigation of a matter must not be made public is in public, and in a form where the same examining magistrate own qualities have been put to test. So the only way to clear and make the independence of the judiciary of this country is to get the person who typed that document, who signed it, who had access to his stamps and the signature. We need a graphologist, which this is all the process of the investigation to get the culprit as per that two communique. The last one is coming from the right source. The first one is contested by the right source. So they should not put Cameroonians in doubt. Let they themselves, the government, have all the apparatus and the means to get the culprit to book. And when they are gotten, they should be punished in the same capacity as those people they have fraudulently, corruptedly decided to make them run away from prison.
Again, Barrister, if the judge wants to make believe that the first communique was fake, don't you think in such a delicate affair which includes murder, torture with culprits risking life sentences, thorough investigations should be opened to get to know the origin of the first communique in such a delicate affair?
Investigation should be open, and the state should be able to tell us. They have all the apparatus, the machines, and everything to detect who within the registry, who within the office of the commissaire de gouvernement, who within the bureau of the examining magistrate did that act, and they should be brought to book. The government cannot isolate himself from this problem. They are responsible for this act. If not, the examining magistrate himself should answer to charges against his signature and all of that.
Offenses, Barrister, is it possible for principal accused to be set free just like that by a communique? We already saw pictures on social media of the accused free, and people believed it somehow. Can you please tell us the procedure to set free such defaulters?
Crime are classified in 3 categories. You have simple offenses, you have misdemeanor, you have crimes. And these are felonious crimes. The act committed by Amugu Belinga, he's still innocent, and Eko and Dangwe, etc., they are still innocent until proven guilty. These are crimes, felonious crimes, that can never see the day of a bail. They don't bail people who have committed heinous crimes, crimes that are classified as, in fact, felonious. So they can never be bailed. There is no way they can be bailed because there is a charge sheet against these crimes, and they are the pointers, the people who have been pointed to have committed the crime. So now it is for the defense to be able to sort out that he was not involved. And all of this cannot be done before the examining magistrate. It will be done before the law court. The examining magistrate in this matter should do it and send his ordonnance de renvoi, that is the final ruling committing these people to go to court and answer the charges that are played against them. There is no way, no other way by the law. The law is very clear to everybody. They cannot bail them and they cannot be released before judgment. Judgment is the only point that they can be released, and the parties that is aggrieved will go on appeal to the Court of Appeal. If they agree further, the Supreme Court. If they agree further, it is the final judgment, and that is only when these people can be free if they are truly free. But if they are condemnable, accused of the act and guilty, they should be sentenced.
And this last question, Barrister, before we go, are we gradually becoming a fake republic? It is not the first time important documents are signed and declared unauthentic hours or days later.
A republic is never fake. A republic remains a republic. It is those who are within the republic, like some of these people, for their private interests, who have collected bribe, money left and right, because the people involved in this criminal act are billionaires. Are billionaires. It might be something have changed hands. I will not testify by this interview, but I'm saying the republic remains the republic, is never fake. The republic is never fake. They are the people within the republic who are fake, not the republic. The justice system must follow the law. It should not twist the arm of the law, because if you try that, well, the law equally have a place for those who want to twist the arm of the law and disturb the cause of justice. So anybody caught in this operation trying to get these people evade, skip prison, detention, sentences, and all of that will be attacked in the same way the people were brought to that same prison precinct. They are awaiting trial. They have not been tried. They are awaiting trial, and that trial must come to its full completion, and a final decision is given. Then can Cameroonians judge for themselves.
Thank you, Chief Barrister Christopher Ndong, for your time and clarifications, and hope to have you some other time. Viewers, we thank you so much for always being with us on Equinoxe Television. Don't go away. As usual, our programs continue. Equinoxe Soir in about 30 minutes with Search Alango 2 and the news in the French language with Julien Best beside us would be at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.